Hello and welcome back to Matt's Book Corner, which is probably a name that I won't end up calling this segment, so if you have a better name, put it in the comments below. So this week I'm going to be looking at Joe Hill's short story collection, 20th Century Ghosts. Is it worth a read? Stay tuned. That is good tea. Okay, so most of you probably know that Joe Hill is in fact the son of one of my favourite authors, if not the favourite author, Stephen King. I found this out a few years back when I was on a forum discussing one of King's latest novels. Someone suggested that I try his son Joe Hill's novels, and I sought them out immediately. I'd seen he'd written 3 books. There was Horns, Heart-Shaped Box, and there was 20th Century Ghosts, which being a short story collection, I figured, what the hell, you can't go wrong with a short story. I'm a massive fan of short fiction, and I find often that short stories don't even need to compete with a novel because they just have so much life on their own. It's kind of like how a really good anthology movie keeps the pace going by short snippets. The book contains 15 short stories which vary from absolute horror to funny to quite sweet in places. For instance, the story Pop Out, which is about 2 boys growing up, one of them happens to be inflatable, is quite touching, sweet and really funny. You probably wouldn't expect it to be a part of a horror story collection, but like I said, this is a varied collection and it really is a must read. There's also a tale which is a take on the Metamorphosis story by, I forget the author's name, I'm going to put the picture up here, which I suppose is about a white trash kid who wakes up one morning to find that he's turned into a giant bug. Nice. The story's pretty cool and the characters seem quite 3D even in this ludicrous setting. That story was a really fun read in this book and I really enjoyed it. I do have to say that my favourite story in the book has got to be 20th Century Ghosts, which obviously lends itself to the title, which in general is about haunted old school cinema. But even that story I believe will take you by surprise, as the cinema is haunted, but it's by a girl who died during a screening of The Wizard of Oz, and subsequently the owner, who first met her years before when he was just a young lad, has fallen madly in love with her and is obsessed with the cinema and her well-being. The thing that drew me to that story really was the essential plotline of it being set in a cinema. Because I really love that cinema experience, and some of these really old art house cinemas that exist are quite spooky, and to think that they've been around for hundreds of years, they probably have picked up a ghost or two. Lastly, another favourite of mine in the book has got to be The Black Phone, which is actually about a child abductor. Although the story again is not what you'd think. In the story, one of the latest child abductees has been thrown into this cell underneath the child abductor's house. In the corner of this room is a really old school retro black phone which actually isn't connected. But that doesn't actually stop it from ringing, and it turns out that the previous victims need to get in touch and tell him how to fight back against his captor. That story is an intense emotional ride and I'd recommend that highly. Other stories in the collection are Abraham's Boys, a vampire tale obviously. Another interesting one to a movie buff like me is Bobby Conroy Comes Back from the Dead, which is actually set during the shoot of Dawn of the Dead back in 1978 I believe. And it involves a man and a woman who haven't met in many years on the set of this film dressed in full zombie gear, which is quite funny. And because I know that film like the back of my hand, the story seems to have real weight to it and I really admired it. Joe Hill is clearly a man with his own style and ideas. He's borrowing nothing from his father, although I believe he has inherited his good taste. So overall, Joe Hill's 20th Century Ghost is a must read, and I recommend that you go out, buy it on Amazon, wherever the hell you get your books from. But if you're not one to pick up a novel, why not pick up the audiobook, which I've also got because I go on a lot of long car journeys back down to England. There's just no end of entertainment with that one. So like I say, go seek out this book, buy it now, and you won't regret it. So that's all I've got to say about that. I've actually got 2 more Joe Hill books to read. I believe there's Nosferatu and Heart-Shaped Box, so I will be looking at those in the future. So I hope you enjoyed this book review. Why not leave a comment below, a like, or just subscribe. So thanks for watching and I hope to see you next time. Bye. Hello, I'm Matt Loftus and welcome to my channel. I'm a writer, director and all-round filmmaking OCD machine. But don't take my word for it, why not judge for yourself? I make short films. I review cult B-movies and give them what they deserve. Sharknado 2.